Starts now.
We'll begin with a Fox News alert. We are awaiting a Donald Trump rally in the battleground state of New Hampshire where he could have new reaction to the latest WikiLeaks revelations rocking Hillary Clinton's campaign. This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner. Here today, Sandra Smith. Co-host of After the Bell, Melissa Francis. Radio talk show host, Meghan McCain. And look who is here on a Friday, people. Today's hashtag One Lucky Guy, the co-host of The Five and host of Cashin' In. Eric Bowling is outnumbered. Good to see you.
Great to be back on a big political discussion day, boy. It's, we have 11 days left.
They just get bigger.
Who's counting?
Right? I am. We all are.
We got it down to the minute. Good to have you.
Great.
All right, let's move. Oh, by the way, Eric's book, Wake Up America, a New York Times and Amazon bestseller now. Wait a minute, both? Goodness gracious, congrats. We'll talk more later?
Thank you.
All right. Let's begin. As we wait for Donald Trump in Manchester, New Hampshire, the near daily drumbeat of revelations coming out of WikiLeaks now. Among some of the head-spinning bombshells this morning, Hillary Clinton's top advisors apparently were in the dark about the details of her controversial email system as the scandal was breaking. And we are learning that the sister-in-law of John Podesta, the campaign chair, raked in six-figure fees lobbying Clinton's State Department, where Podesta, who is now Clinton's campaign chair, as I mentioned, served as a senior advisor for her. Ed Henry has been pouring through these WikiLeaks postings, so much to get through. On a Friday again, Ed.
Great to see you, Harris. You know, the key here is that when you take a step back from the daily dose of one email after another, there's now well over 30,000 of them. WikiLeaks promising there will be 50,000 of John Podesta's emails out there by Election Day. So stay tuned for that. Is that it's not just offering a window into how the Clinton campaign works. It gives you a window on how she might govern as president. Let me give you two quick examples. You mentioned the fact that her top campaign officials were in the dark about her email scandal. Look at this first email. John Podesta going back and forth with Robbie Mook, who's the campaign manager. Podesta, as the New York Times story broke about her email situation, did you have any idea of the depth of this story? Mook, nope. We brought up the existence of emails in research this summer, but we're told that everything was taken care of. So you have the campaign chairman and the campaign manager saying, we didn't really know it was this bad. We asked about it either to Hillary Clinton or other people, and we're told everything was taken care of. That gives you an idea that maybe Hillary Clinton kept the most serious information to just herself, and maybe people like Cheryl Mills and Huma Abedin. As president, if you're not sharing information with even people in your administration, very senior people like John Podesta, that could be a problem. Last one, on Israel. Neera Tanden, her name keeps coming up, a liberal activist who writes in to John Podesta in March of 2015 when Prime Minister Netanyahu was in America. Israel is depressing. It's a good lesson that the wingnuts are just ruthless in every country. Podesta responds, bad. Why is this significant? Well, number one, Neera Tanden is the co-chair of the presidential transition for Hillary Clinton if, in fact, she's elected. She's going to have a powerful voice in the next administration if it's a Democratic one, number one. And number two, think about, again, taking a step back, what we've seen already. Previous emails attacking Catholics, talking about needy Latinos, now taking a shot at Israel here. This is serious stuff, and it keeps popping up day after day, Harris.
Yeah, and for maybe another reason, too, when you consider just how chilly the relationship is between President Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. I mean, you would want there to be civility and even playing ground going forward with our staunchest ally in that part of the world.
No doubt about it. And you're right that the Clintons have played this as, look, former President Bill Clinton has a good relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and so does Hillary Clinton as a former Secretary of State, and that maybe she's more hawkish than President Obama and would forge a new day, a new relationship with Israel. These emails suggest otherwise, Harris.
All right. Boy, transparency. It can be scary sometimes. Ed Henry, thank you very much. Let's come out now and talk first with Eric Bowling. Your thoughts on all of this?
So 35,597 emails so far, 14,000 and maybe 400 or so left to go. Neera Tanden, she's very aggressive on email. If you've seen these, I mean, some foul language on some of these. Clearly, she didn't ever expect her emails to be in the light. I will tell you that a lot of them, it's not adding up to a lot for me, but the ones that do are crushing it. For example, yesterday, the Podesta stuff, the Podesta and Kim, how's this? Kim Strassel wrote an op-ed in today's Wall Street Journal. It's a lead op-ed talking about this relationship between Teneo, a corporation that's set up as a PR/lobbying firm to unite Bill Clinton, access to Bill Clinton with these big donors, Coca-Cola, UBS, Dow Chemical. $19 million goes through Teneo, ends up in Bill Clinton's pocket. These are massive, massive crony agreements. And what Kim draws the line, she says the Clintons don't have that line. There's a blurred line between what's charitable activities and what goes right into the Clinton coffers, and I think that is really the damaging stuff, not necessarily who they like, who they don't like. Do they need 4 white guys running the campaign or not, or anyone else?
Damaging in terms of what the nation learns, but I also see a tremendous collateral damage that we are keeping up with now. She didn't even care about her own people. I mean, they didn't know what was going on, but they would be tasked for defending her. And I think about people like the New York City Commissioner, formerly Bill Bratton, who's now with Teneo, and the collateral damage that some of these people who've gone to work for these subsidiaries may feel. I don't know. It's a bigger picture now with these emails.
It is. I wouldn't cry for Bill Bratton. I'm sure he's making a fortune. I mean, that's the reason why these people go over and become consultants. I mean, they essentially go on the dole over there at Teneo. To me, I agree with you. It begins and it ends with the foundation. They brought the 2014 nonprofit Lawyer of the Year out of retirement to go through the foundation and look at the documents, and her findings were amazing. She said that the oversight required by federal charity law, none of it was in place there. She said donors expected a quid pro quo in return for their contributions. You have people at other networks saying the foundation has to be closed. Oh my goodness, that horse is out of the barn. I mean, these people have already paid the Clintons $15, $12 million in the case of the King of Morocco. He's looking for payback. It says it right there in their documents. They expect something down the road. They've already paid, and when she goes to the White House, she's going to pay all these people back. The Saudis, Abu Dhabi, King of Morocco, Goldman Sachs, all of the people that paid her expect favors.
At the very least, she's got to prove that she won't be doing that. And she's got to prove it pretty quickly. Right?
Okay.
And this is not the first time we've heard quid pro quo.
So then why, going back to John Podesta being left in the dark, why would Hillary Clinton, when they were self-vetting, why would she have not put everything out there and told him, quote, that everything was taken care of with the emails?
So when I read through these emails and all the articles on this, there are 2 things that struck me. Number one, the fact that Chelsea Clinton had a concern about the people who are working for the Clinton Foundation. It is quite obvious that Hillary Clinton is Tony Soprano and her consiglieres, Cheryl Mills and Huma Abedin, these henchwomen that will do anything and everything for her, even if it's illegal, even if it's compromising national security. And what concerns me is we're going to have a president who only relies on these 2 women who for concern and for these 2 women for everything, and not include her advisors and the people that also work for her. It's when you're talking about the White House and the incredible decisions that they have made for a president. If you're only consulting 2 close women who will do things illegally for you, that should raise
Can I add to this?
We're going to fix your mic in like 10 seconds for people who can hear it.
So here's the issue. Hillary Clinton was at the State Department. Doug Band, Cheryl Mills, Huma Abedin were jumping between State Department, Clinton Foundation, and Teneo. And herein lies the problem. Because you can say, all right, so Bill Clinton ingratiated himself to the tune of about $116 million through the access that he was providing, Teneo was providing, but the Clinton Foundation is separate. No, it's not. The Clinton Foundation was also taking money from them too. So Teneo would say, hey, you want access to Bill Clinton? He's the former president. That's fine. We'll give you access. You need to pay $500 grand for Bill Clinton to speak, or you need to make a donation to the Clinton Foundation, and we'll provide access. It's really incestuous what they did.
And that's an opinion.
And this
that's
is
in the email.
That's years of this they've been doing
this.
This
is fact. This is not opinion. This is what they wrote.
So you started with this is a window, perhaps, into the world of how a Clinton administration would run.
And the people that she would keep close to her.
I want to know who she would listen to, who would have told her that this wasn't just a bad idea, it was like the worst idea if she ever intended to run and win. I mean, if she
they don't care, Harris. They don't care. And Kim Strassel points it out, and she calls it grifters.
Chelsea's running the foundation.
Grifters in chief, which means, you know what a grifter is? A grifter shows up and takes everything, invited or not, they show up and they don't leave until they get everything they could possibly get from the host.
Does President Obama care about this, do you think?
I don't know.
He doesn't seem to be involved in any of this.
He did originally, because he was the one that said that there needs to be this Chinese wall and that they need to stop taking money from foreign governments. And he said, I mean, this was his concern.
He also defended her and said she did nothing wrong.
Well, I don't know. He might be regretting that as you see all of these emails come out, and it shows exactly that they were doing everything they said they promised they would not.
I just asked that question because of how much we are seeing in this month of October, and you brought it up months ago. Watch October, and the Obamas come out. I mean, this is complicated.
But here we are 11 days out, and so we can talk about this on the couch every day because these emails are coming out, it seems like, every day. And what really political impact is it having?
There are a massive amount of undecideds right now, more than probably in the last 5 or 6,
Are there?
5 or 6 election cycles.
There's conflict on this issue.
There's independents and undecideds, and there are people right now going, I would love to say I want to vote for Hillary Clinton. I can't get to. I would love to vote for Donald Trump. I can't get to.
I think the people that they're undecided between am I going to really show up and vote or am I going to stay home? I don't think there are people that aren't necessarily that many that are deciding one candidate or the other, but there are people that could just say, you know what, she's awful too, I'm staying home.
Wow. Okay, we'll move on. After that Access Hollywood tape came out, a lot of Republicans pulled their support for Donald Trump. Remember the lewd comments he made? Now they're doing an about-face. This is like the 5th about-face, isn't it, for them? The Republicans who are jumping back onto the Trump train, and whether more will follow. And Donald Trump going after Joe Biden for saying he'd like to take Trump behind the gym for past comments about women. Trump says he dreams of fighting the vice president. But argues the press would tear into him if he ever said anything like that. Is he right? Stay close.
Donald Trump holding a rally this afternoon in the battleground state of New Hampshire. And with just, count it, 11 days to go until Election Day, more high-profile GOPers are reversing course, now saying they will vote for Trump. We told you about Congressman Jason Chaffetz yesterday, the chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, tweeting he won't re-endorse Trump, but he will vote for him. Also, Republican Senators John Thune of South Dakota, Deb Fischer of Nebraska, and Mike Crapo of Idaho, who all called for Trump to quit the race after that Access Hollywood tape was released, are now saying they will vote for him after all. This, as a new Fox News poll shows Trump supporters with a higher level of support than Clinton voters, 68 to 61%. What do you make of all this? They're going to support him. They're not going to support him. Now they're going to support him again.
It's awful. Look what Hillary Clinton has. She has the seated president, President Barack Obama, as a surrogate. He's fantastic.
Michelle
Obama is probably the best surrogate I've seen in 20 years. I mean, she's amazing for her. She's got Joe Biden. What does Donald Trump have? He has Donald Trump. It's just when I hear people say on the GOP that I can't support him, okay, fine. Then I hear people say he should pull out. That's awful. Or even worse, when a GOP establishment person says, I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Look, I'm a one-issue voter right now. One. It's the Constitution and the Supreme Court and the federal judicial system. That's my only issue. Love Donald Trump or hate him, he's far more conservative than anyone that Hillary Clinton will put on the bench.
Megan, your thoughts on Republicans reversing course?
Jason Chaffetz in particular looks like he's just doing this for political expediency. I actually have a problem with the fact that he referenced his 15-year-old daughter when he unendorsed, and then I don't know what happened. He said he couldn't look his 15-year-old daughter in the eye, and I don't know what happened in a few days, but now apparently his daughter isn't coming into play with this. He was angling for Speaker before Paul Ryan. I think this probably goes to the fact that there is a large swath of the Republican Party who are huge Trump supporters, and he doesn't want to make them angry. I just want politicians to keep with their convictions one way or another. If you unendorse, stick with it. There's a mere 11 days left. We're literally counting down the hours at this point, but you're swaying with the wind, and in some swing states, Donald Trump is doing better right now. I certainly wouldn't count him out. So the problem with these specific politicians that we just referenced is it looks like you just go wherever the weather vane is. No conviction one way or another. Be a Jeff Flake, a Ben Sass, stick with it the whole time.
You hit the nail on the head. The word is winning.
Yes.
And, you know, from the beginning, they were behind him, how much? 0, the establishment. But when he beat 16 others, they did kind of a check. And then they checked back out. And then they check in. And then they check out. At the convention, he had to move forward. And he did. Paul Manafort came in and helped scoop up those delegates. A tape comes out. It is lewd. It is crude. Awful things said. However, now they're back on the train. So what's driving it? What's changed? Winning.
No, I see. I disagree with you guys totally on this one. I think that in this last moment, it is actually effective to have somebody like Jason Chaffetz stand up and say, look, I mean, what a lot of people are thinking, both of these candidates are not ideal. I've got really big problems with them. But at the end of the day, I need to go vote for Donald Trump. You say you're a single-issue voter on the Supreme Court. I'm a single-issue voter on the economy. I think that we are in dire straits right now with what's happening with Obamacare. You talk to people and their premiums. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the battleground state and how that shapes up. But I think with the economy, with business, with the market, with regulation, Donald Trump is so far ahead of Hillary Clinton in terms of what he'll do for tax policy, how he can get this country moving again, that regardless of how you feel about him, because I hate his comments on women.
You don't think it looks like political expediency?
I think it looks like, yes, in the sense that I care about this country.
If you think that Jason Chaffetz doesn't want to be speaker when Paul Ryan possibly steps down, you're crazy. I'm sorry. I think this is just party politics. And he's in Utah, which, by the way, could possibly go to Evan McMullen. Exactly. So it's a very strange strategical choice.
More political expediency by the rest of the establishment class and get behind the nominee.
But Eric, he hasn't exactly, opened himself up for these endorsements. Donald Trump all along has basically said, I don't need them. I can do this alone, and those endorsements won't change anything.
Fine.
If he had more support from these GOPers, would things be different right now for Donald Trump?
I think they would. I think that we talked about the independents and the people who are undecided right now. There's a vast group of people who are moderate Republicans who are saying, I can't get myself to vote for Donald Trump. I can't get there unless they heard Paul Ryan, the Bushes, both father and son, saying, look, I don't like the guy. I disagree with a lot of things he does, but he's going to be better than Hillary Clinton, so we'll get behind him.
You can't one day, Donald Trump can't one day say that Paul Ryan and all the establishment people are losers that are irrelevant, direct quote, and then another day, it's if we don't have their endorsement, we're losing voters. You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
I wonder how much more money he would have, too, just in terms of coming from the establishment.
Great point. Great point.
So he does need it in that way if he's not going to spend more on
the Kochs. I mean, those are big money donors that haven't really stepped up the way they have in the past.
All right.
Great point.
We are getting down to the wire as some polls appear to be tightening in some key states where the candidates need to duke it out in the final push to November 8th. And speaking of duking it out, some rough and tumble language from the vice president and the Republican nominee, Donald Trump asking why Joe Biden seems to get a pass when he'd get slammed for the same language. We'll debate it next. We are awaiting a Donald Trump rally set to begin any moment in the key swing state of New Hampshire. This as new polls show Trump and Hillary Clinton locked in a close race in some key battleground states. In Iowa, a Quinnipiac poll of likely voters shows the candidates tied in a four-way matchup. In Nevada, an NBC Wall Street Journal Marist poll shows the candidates also neck and neck at 43%. And in Georgia, this Quinnipiac survey shows Trump up by just 1 point in a virtual tie with Clinton. In the meantime, in New Hampshire, another NBC Wall Street Journal Marist poll shows Hillary Clinton up by 9 points. Wow. But a new Monmouth survey shows Clinton leading by just 4 points there. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Donald Trump is pumping an additional $10 million of his own money into his campaign for a grand total of $66 million so far. Megan, you and I were talking before the show about what could change the tenor in a lot of these states, especially the battleground states. People are getting their Obamacare premiums. I'm hearing from them on Twitter and everywhere else by email, on Facebook, and they're talking about Pennsylvania, for example, 150% increase in a lot of places, 50% in Philly. Arizona is a huge one. What are people in Arizona saying?
It's really bad in Arizona in particular, and the most effective attack ads I've seen against Hillary Clinton have to do with Obamacare and her extension of Obamacare if she becomes president.
Yeah.
These battleground states are really, really tight. Democrats shouldn't get too happy or too comfortable. This is all well within the margin of error. Anything can happen. 11 days may seem like a short amount of time, but in the 24-hour news cycle, it actually is enough time to move the needle one way or the other, to the left or to the right. So if I were Hillary Clinton, I would not be getting comfortable right now.
Hit people in the wallet right before they go vote?
I think
that's rough.
This is a game changer. 11, 12, whatever. This came out 2 days ago, so 13 days out, under 2 weeks, and you have this massive increase in Obamacare premiums that the right has predicted for 5 years. We expected this to come. Jonathan Gruber said, don't worry, Americans are dumb enough to buy into this, and then we did somehow anyway because the Supreme Court changed from fee and penalty, the tax. Make a long story short, Trump should hammer this, especially in battleground states like Arizona. Well, there's a poll out today that has Hillary Clinton leading in Arizona. Well, you should get there and say, by the way, he's going to need Arizona, too. Yeah, you're going to have a 116% increase in Arizona. You're going to have a 40% increase in North Carolina, another battleground state. Minnesota, he can win a 53% increase. This is massive for the average American who has to get
It's really bad. I know someone personally in my life who their premium is almost as much as their mortgage at this point. I mean, it is, to say that this has been a disaster and a con, again, it's...
Can I just throw one quick thing out here? I did the math on it yesterday. For a silver plan, that's the middle plan on Obamacare. Now, it's the most popular one, not the high one, low one. The middle plan. If you're 40 years old, a non-smoker, you're going to pay between premiums and deductibles $8,500 out of your pocket before the government or the insurance company pick up a penny for a cold or a strep throat. Not one penny.
You know, there's another segment of voters that this hits, too. I mean, it hits everybody, but it's interesting because Donald Trump has done so much outreach recently to the African-American section of the voter electorate. I was watching on Essence.com, which is a very popular magazine, particularly among black women. And they were doing some explaining of, and the headline was, why you're seeing Obamacare in the headlines and the negative, and they blame the federal government. I mean, it was a short blurb, an article, but it's hitting in this community, too. And it's another place where if Donald Trump wanted to, he could talk about that as well with his outreach.
I saw a gentleman get off the train this morning wearing a Make America Great Again hat. And I asked him, you know, in these final days, what are you thinking? He said he should just stick with Obamacare.
Yeah.
His supporters just want him to stick on this these last few days.
I would agree with that. I mean, he's got a couple of things. I think Melissa's right. The economy, I would say the Supreme Court, and Obamacare is a gift. He's got to make sure it keeps on giving.
I think that the foundation is one thing for sure. It's in the emails, to me, that's the salient thing that comes out, is you see really how corrupt the Clintons are and how they sold the State Department. They'll sell anything, and now next they'll sell the White House, which I think is really scary. But you also see, I mean, a woman in Texas who I know personally, talking about her premiums have gone up to $1,300 a month. She makes $40,000 a year. You can't pay. I just think that $1,300 a month.
This topic resonates with everybody. Sandra, you've been saying all along, it doesn't seem like the emails really touch Hillary Clinton. Maybe they'll touch her a little bit more.
$1,300 a month.
Bullseye for so many people.
$1,300 a month. All right, and we have this. Hillary Clinton reportedly has Vice President Joe Biden at the top of her short list to be Secretary of State should she win. A source tells Politico that Biden has not been approached yet, but the VP has said on numerous occasions he would not accept a position in the next administration. Meantime, the Vice President and Donald Trump still trading jabs after Biden said he'd like to take Trump, quote, behind the gym for Trump's past comments about women. This week, the Vice President sought to clarify what he meant.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. I mean, all kidding aside, wouldn't you? I mean, for real. Can you imagine a guy in the locker room talking that way and your sister's out there watching the game? Not a joke. If I were in high school. I want to make it clear, I understand what assault is.
Donald Trump not only punching back, but points out he's being held to a double standard. Listen.
I got Biden. He said, I'd like to take him behind the gym. I dream of that. Biden. You know what you do with Biden? You go like this. And he'd fall over. Just tough guy, Mr. Tough Guy. Can you imagine if I ever made that statement? Donald Trump is a bully. He threatened Vice President Biden. Donald Trump is a bully. Can you imagine? But he could say it. Everyone thought, oh, that was a wonderful statement.
It's true.
So I actually agree with Donald Trump on this. I think because he's crazy Uncle Joe Biden, people give him a pass. I am exhausted with this bro locker room talk across the board. We have ISIS using chemical weapons against our soldiers in Iraq.
I
am sick of this stuff.
Well,
I'm
said he
so
was
sick of
follow
it.
ISIS to the gates of hell. I mean, he that was a fight that we would have welcomed him or anybody in the administration to take. Right?
But I think there's definitely a media double standard. I do think if Donald Trump had said, I'm going to take Joe Biden out back, the media would go crazy with their poll.
It would be the headline.
Headlines everywhere.
That he threatened the vice president, don't you think?
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the only one here who would love to see it. I'd pay extra for pay-per-view.
Who would win that fight, by the way?
Now you're going to get in trouble. Now we're just going to go crazy on you.
You remember when Donald Trump had the thing with Vince McMahon, and it was a WWE thing, and the loser was going to shave his hair, and ended up Vince McMahon lost, and he had to shave his hair? I think that would be great. The two of them have, the losers, they have to wrestle, and the
Bowling.
Yeah, it's not something you can have with Donald Trump's counterpart, right? I mean,
Joe
we're talking
Biden.
I could see if you're saying Mike
might not want
Pence
to
and
shave
Joe
his hair.
Biden, I mean, kind of on that vice presidential level.
Oh my gosh, this conversation's gone.
I did find it interesting that he said that, but I'm not a teenager. I know what assault is. It's assault even if you are a teenager.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I agree. I think it kind of takes it to a different level.
I just think it's classless on both their parts. And I just, again, all the serious events happening globally and internationally, and like we're talking about with Obamacare, it's just beneath the decorum of this election.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have so many huge issues facing the country right now. I mean, you look at the economy, just has been lagging in the past 8 years. So many jobs have not been created. I mean, taxes are crushing people. There are so many different things going on. ISIS, we have all these problems. Our schools are failing. I'm worried about the future of this country for my children. And we're talking about this garbage.
I know. The question is, does Joe Biden have a place in Hillary's new administration? I mean, he says he won't do it. He says he's not interested. But, if she comes a knocking, might be too good to pass up.
It's interesting because you heard Hillary Clinton talking about how she was going to try to bait him going into one of the debates. And you kind of see this a little bit with this, can you bait him? We've been seeing a tightening with Donald Trump, and it's just from an objective point of how the questions are being asked and how the things are being put out there. I watched that George Stephanopoulos interview yesterday on GMA, and he said, what regrets do you have? And Trump said, I bet you regret giving to the Clinton Foundation. I mean, there is a tightening, and that to me is that's a reflection on Kellyanne Conway. Maybe he's listening a little bit more. I don't know. I'm looking. There was a time when this could have lived a day. It's not even living 15 minutes now with him.
But going back to the media giving Joe Biden a pass on this, this just gets Donald Trump supporters even more worked up. We just quoted those enthusiasm numbers, and his supporters are more enthusiastic than hers are, and that is seen in every poll.
Yeah. Look, clearly Joe was having a little fun, I think, right? Do we not? Do we think he didn't really want to take Donald Trump behind him?
I was only, I'm kidding.
And Donald Trump,
teenager.
of course, picks up on it. That's what Donald Trump has done for a year and a half. If he can have that kind of, stepped up, amped up rhetoric and have a little fun with it, he does. And you're right,
Sandra.
No, his supporters buy into it. They love that. That just makes them, it's like catnip.
Yeah, he pivoted and went right back.
His
but I remember a time when the pivot would
Yeah.
not have happened.
This is fresh meat for his supporters. The problem is he needs independents and swing voters right now, and I just don't know if that, actually I know that doesn't move the needle at all one way or the other. All right, Donald Trump going on offense, ramping up his talk of a rigged election and suggesting he may sue NBC over that Access Hollywood tape. Next, whether this is a winning strategy for the Republican nominee.
We are awaiting Donald Trump to step up to the podium at a rally in Manchester, New Hampshire. He's been on the offense in the final stretch of this race, ramping up his talk of a rigged election. Bill O'Reilly asked him about that last night.
The system is rigged, Bill. You look at the media, how horrible they are, how false they are. And I think the biggest rigging of all is what's happened with the FBI and the Justice Department with respect to Hillary Clinton, because she is so guilty in so many different ways that she shouldn't even be allowed to run for president. So right there, the system is really rigged. Look at Texas. A lot of calls were made from Texas, an incredible place. I love Texas. And the lines are massive, and they were talking about flipping, where they press a button and they press it for me and another name comes up named
But do we have any data on?
There are 1.8 million people who are dead who are registered to vote.
Meantime, Trump already saying he may sue his accusers, and now it sounds like he may go after NBC as well. O'Reilly asked him about the Access Hollywood tape where he was caught on camera making lewd comments about women. Watch.
It was an illegal act that was NBC. It was not supposed to be on.
You think it was illegal what they did, putting that tape out?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that was a private locker. That was a private dressing room. Yeah, that was.
Are you going to take any action after the election against NBC?
Well, you'll see. You'll see.
You're
going to see after the
election.
But I will tell you. First of all, shouldn't have been. But it was. It was locker room talk. And yeah, I mean, we're going to find out soon enough. I will tell you.
We will find out soon enough. What do we say? 11 days to go here. What do you make of this strategy in the final stretch by Donald Trump?
So the rigged part is two-pronged. I like one part of it, and I dislike the other part. I like the part where he says the media has rigged this so that Hillary Clinton gets all, she gets the softball, she gets the positive coverage, he gets beat up. You know, they talk about Donald Trump's free media. Well, a lot of it is negative, too.
Right.
I think that's a winning strategy. The public doesn't like them. As much as they don't like Congress, they don't really like us about at the same rate. I think that's a winning strategy. I don't like this. The polls, the polling places are rigged. I just don't think that's winning, because if I'm a Trump supporter who wants to vote for Donald Trump and keep hearing that he's going to lose because the polls are rigged, I might not show up.
Exactly.
I might not get to the polls. So I'm going to win. Here's the strategy. Yes, it's rigged, but I'm still going to win. And if anyone asks me about what I'm going to do after the election, I'll let you know when I'm president, not, hey, I'll let you know if I'm not president.
And if I were to read the minds of Megyn and Melissa, it's probably Megyn, you're going to say, stick to fighting terror, stick to the economy, Melissa, stick to the issues in the final days of this election. Is that what you would prefer?
I would say so for sure. I mean, I think that there is something to the fact that, you know, when you don't get the same kind of coverage on the emails, that it was only when the debates were over, when things started to die down, when there weren't as many stories day by day, that finally you're seeing more of it out there. I mean, it took 13, 14, 15, 20 dumps of these emails, thousands of emails, before the mainstream media started paying attention to that. And I do think that's a function of their own bias, and certainly we've all been there and seen that in the past. That's a winning strategy. But I agree with you. You don't want to say, even though, I mean, the thing that happened in Texas is compelling and is crazy, but you don't want to discourage people from going.
Well, and I'm also a little confused of how Donald Trump has gotten this far and still doesn't have a pure answer on what happened on those tapes, right? Or on that bus with Billy Bush. Billy Bush lost his job. I mean, he can go after and sue whomever he wants. But I think it's interesting. Why not just say, I said those things.
Wasn't that his answer?
I said those things. You can't pretend like you didn't say them. I said those things. Whatever, and move on. But to go down that hole of I'm going to sue, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Let's get back to, what's our word for the day? Obamacare.
Yeah. It gives it oxygen and it keeps it alive. And for the white college-educated voters, which is a demographic Republicans haven't lost in decades. Mitt Romney won them by 6%. He's right now down by 30%. It's bringing up something that doesn't play well with women. Right now, he really needs...
So why does he do it, do you think?
Because I think he can't help himself.
Yeah,
but if you're on O'Reilly, if I'm Kellyanne Conway, I'm saying Obamacare, terrorism, email scandals. Obamacare, terrorism, email scandals. That's
like
it. Just keep Supreme Court picks, whatever.
That's very interesting. Kellyanne Conway will be on O'Reilly tonight.
By all means.
If this is what she sticks to. That's
by all means. Well, I would love that answer. I really would love that answer. I just don't know if he's not disciplined enough to do it, but these things play very well with voters. And on the opposite end, I'm just sick of talking about the tape and hearing about it. We all know it's been at length. We've all made their decisions.
Other media isn't sick of it. They love it. They keep dredging it up. You're right. If there's an opportunity to bring that tape back into the media.
But there's a way to answer that. Sure. And you know that Kellyanne Conway and some of the others on his campaign have to be talking about the messaging of this. Yeah. It's a quick pivot at this point, because it didn't just happen 15 minutes ago.
You know, Harris, he said from day one, if you punch me, I'm going to punch you back harder.
And I'm not saying that it's not important in the context of everything that's happened, though.
There's a great analogy that Steve Schmidt, who used to work, he's a GOP operative, but he's not a Trump fan. Right, not a Trump fan. He says that Trump has been like his Labrador Retriever. You throw the ball, the tennis ball, the Labrador Retriever will go get it and bring it back no matter what the setting is. And he makes a very good point that Donald Trump says he'll fight back no matter what. And maybe to his discredit, you're right. He's got to stop.
To his detriment.
To his detriment, he's got to stop chasing the ball and get back and hit the economy, hit Obamacare, and hit the things that matter.
He's got the Women for Trump on the trail today. The Women for Trump are on the trail today, and they are dealing with some of this headwind that he's created. Yeah.
All right. Donald Trump slamming Hillary Clinton over one of her top staffers' comments about Catholics and evangelicals, how it might or might not affect faith voters when they head to the polls in less than 2 weeks.
But let's go to John Scott with what's coming up in the second hour of Happening Now. Hey, John.
Hi, as we're waiting for a Donald Trump rally, Manchester, New Hampshire. The candidate making a swing through that battleground state. His running mate, Mike Pence, will be in Pennsylvania later. We're also waiting to hear from Tim Kaine for rallying for Hillary Clinton in Tallahassee. Kaine made some controversial comments, commenting on the new Clinton Foundation details leaked by WikiLeaks. When asked about Bill Clinton's use of a private jet, he told a local station last night, quote, Well, look, he's a president and is entitled. Most presidents do very, very well when they leave office. President Obama will be campaigning with Hillary Clinton today in Florida, the state considered a toss-up by the latest Associated Press polls. It's become a center of attention. Trump was there for 3 days in a row this week. We are also learning Clinton has just added an event in Arizona. She will be in Phoenix on Wednesday. 11 days to go. Harris, back to you.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Donald Trump making a new bid for Catholic and evangelical voters. This amid the fallout over a leaked email appearing to show Hillary Clinton's now communications director, Jennifer Palmieri, making offensive comments about Catholics and evangelicals. And another email where Clinton's campaign chairman discussed supporting rebellion against church doctrine. Palmieri later said she's Catholic and didn't recognize the email, but now Trump, in an interview with Catholic network EWTN, slamming Clinton, saying her staff's emails reflect her own thinking about people of faith. Watch. Okay, so Melissa, do you think it's fair to take what Palmieri said in an email and apply it to Hillary Clinton? First of all, I'm Catholic, and I was very offended by the comments.
Yeah, I mean, if you go through, it's a whole pattern of behavior. It's not just this one email. It happens again and again. I mean, today we saw the one about Israel. Israel is depressing. Wing nuts everywhere, out of control, just shows you that. This was in reference to Netanyahu. I mean, there is a disrespect throughout all of these emails and a mocking of anyone who has faith. It's fine if you feel that way, if you don't believe in God and you don't feel like you're a religious person, but through all of these emails, there's a mocking. And it's funny to me because this is a group, on the left, we're the party of tolerance.
Right.
We're the ones, we embrace change, we embrace new people.
Such
They're
a great point.
intolerant to people who don't believe the same thing they do. And they're intolerant of religious people. It's so hypocritical.
Is there some polling that has shown these people who work in her campaign that there's a loud cry from agnostics in this country? Like, I'm just curious to know how we got to the point where this was their conversation.
It was literally a cheap shot against Catholics. I think at one point she said Catholicism is bastardizing Christianity.
Okay, so he has the right to step in and say something about that, because obviously that made news. But Eric, as somebody who supports Donald Trump, how do you think he does on this issue? How do you think he speaks when it comes to religion? Does he do well?
Maybe not, but this issue, clearly Hillary Clinton is at fault. This is her campaign. This is a high-level spokesperson for the Clinton campaign suggesting. I mean,
but
you're not just alienating Catholics.
If she's making mistakes, the question that Sandra's leading to is, can he then pick it up and turn it around and make it a win?
You're alienating every person of faith, not just Catholics.
It's exactly what people imagine the Clintons think of Catholics and people of faith in this country. They're classic limousine liberals. Let me tell you something. I've been around politicians my entire life. Your staff is a reflection of your personality and who you are and what your beliefs are. 100% fact. I'm not surprised they think this. I think everyone of faith knows in this country that liberals, specifically the Clintons, have a different impression and a different kind of, I don't know how to describe it other than you can be tolerant of everything in this country except Christianity, and it's somehow okay.
And wing nuts. And wing nuts, clearly.
I think you turn it and make it a win, he would do it by letting it speak for itself. I mean, not saying anything.
Well, let me remind you of that very icy moment at the Al Smith dinner when he apparently went off script and said she was sitting there pretending not to hate Catholics in the room.
Well, there was a hush.
Ill-advised, I think. I think that was one he could have taken the pen and going, no, I'm not going to read
Except for the Archbishop said that it was the coldest place on the planet sitting between the two of them.
Oh.
So there was some spiritedness there, too.
All right, we'll leave it right there. More on that in just a moment.
America? Just because you told me to say it that way.
America.
This is huge for you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
So
it's been fantastic.
You dropped a little news on us this hour. I mean, it was quiet, but it was big. So you're going to be on at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'm going to host for Bill tonight, and we have Kellyanne Conway, and hopefully a little bit of the Trump speech will pick up, and we'll have her react to it. But I love your suggestions.
Thank you.
And if you have any more suggestions, hit me up on Twitter or Facebook for Kellyanne.
My niece read your book and loved
Obamacare.
Your niece read it.
My niece.
That is amazing.
And you were so nice. You signed a copy.
Just like your picture. Some people look different on the cover, but you do. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We're back on TV Monday at noon Eastern, happening now.